people listening to this or watching this, they might be thinking, well, do you know, I think that my son or my daughter has ADHD, or my daughter or my son has ADHD, or maybe suffers with mental health or neurodivergent in some way, shape or form. What have you found in your experience that you can share with other people that are struggling to navigate? I mean, being a parent is hard enough as it is. Being a parent and working is even more difficult. And being a parent in this society at the moment, and then having the complexity of neurodiverse, I can't even say the word.
Right, that's what
neurodiversity is tricky enough, isn't it? So what advice or what pointers would you give?
I think, again, coming back to the headstrong point and being very assured in the way me and my wife think, is that we, for our kids, and I think it's probably the best example to use, is that we've both said, as long as they come out of the education system happy, we've succeeded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you realise, and go back to the point I said earlier about being in the right environment, anyone can thrive.
Yes.
Is that there's so many opportunities in the construction industry alone, bucket loads of opportunities. You know, things like my youngest, well, both kids, they play Minecraft. Right. They're already designing buildings at the ages of 4 and 5. They started that. Yeah. So they're ahead of the game from that perspective. And I think patience is a big part of it. Patience, kindness, focus on being happy rather than being the focus on going to university, which I think was certainly the message that the government was portraying when I was going through secondary school. It was always, right, sixth form university, that's the route you've got to go, otherwise you'll be a failure. But actually, on the flip side, again, one of those things looking back is that I was completely misinformed, because at the time, those friends that were going off to kind of polytechnic type college to do plumbing, carpentry, being an electrician, construction management, it was like, oh, why are they doing that? That's a bit strange. They're not going to succeed in life. And lo and behold, they're amongst the most successful from a pure kind of financial perspective and the ability to earn. But then there are these inherent issues, which I say again, especially amongst the trades, with mental health issues, which I think, coming full circle to ADHD, is that, if you have ADHD in the wrong environment where you're not going to thrive, you will stick out, you'll be disruptive, maybe you won't learn as well or as quickly. And so you get kind of pushed into a corner and guided down a certain path, which was at that time to go to college, not sixth form. And so actually with ADHD, one of the stats is you're 5 times more likely to encounter suicidal thoughts. So you take that and the peaks and troughs with mood and happiness and sadness, you put the 2 and 2 together. And it's not, for me, there's something in it as to why the suicide rate is so high in the construction industry, and which is why, obviously keen to talk about it more and more, to try and help people, and as much as we can. So talking about it is a big part of it. Just talking and being comfortable in talking about it is a game changer. Those conversations I've had recently with certain clients that I'm close to, contractors, even some subcontractors and consultants, it kind of every part of the world of work in which I operate, it's covered. It's in everything. Yeah, we're all people.
Yeah. Where there's people, I really love the thing that you said at the start of your advice, where you said it's about a child coming out of the educational system feeling happy and feeling connected. You didn't say this, but connected, included, and having a sense of self-worth and belief. Because I think that you're exactly right, is when going back again to the experiences that you've had with your grandfather, it sounds like you were connected with him. And so that's one of the things that helped you to learn or to understand or be interested what he was interested in, is that there was that emotional connection that then led to learning, which led to joy or fun or connection. And those elements need to come together.
100%, absolutely. And again, feel very fortunate that somehow it's all come together very, very nicely. But again, going back to the conversation piece, is that it was only, and talking about the education system as well, and how to try and navigate that with children generally, is that, again, just being comfortable and semi-informed about kind of neurodiversity, is that is kind of how it came up. It was very simple, off the cuff kind of comment. We're with a client at a social a couple of weeks ago. We got chatting. Long story short, she was saying her child, who's 5, the same age as my youngest, was constantly saying that she was stupid, And I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid.
Right.
James
so
is
the,
doing.
so the child was beating herself up, saying,
James,
okay.
we're working on him now. Where he's saying it less. He's still saying it every now and again.
Yeah, yeah.
We've worked on him. Just that constant reinforcement.
Yeah.
You're not stupid. You're a lovely boy. You're clever. You're kind. You're intelligent. You know, you're such a wonderful kid. And that constant reinforcement and that patience in
Changes
doing
that
so.
story.
But then that led on to, you know, apparently her dad was had ADHD, and then it's incredible the conversations where conversations can lead, and that so many people are affected, some knowing it and some without knowing it. But I'm sure there's many more people are affected by neurodiverse, by neurodiversity than are aware.
Just one quick thing. Have you heard of a guy called Gabor Mate before?
I haven't.
Okay.
You mentioned, and I'm sure in the past, but not come across him.
So Gabor Mate is a psychologist who has ADHD, and he also has dyslexia. He has studied ADHD, and so his theory is that it's connected. ADHD is connected to trauma in some way, shape, or form, and ADHD is also passed on generational. So it's not a physiological or a biological issue, that it's a coping mechanism to be able to deal with something that wasn't understood correctly in the past.
And that can go back many generations.
Exactly right.
Wow.
And so parents pass it on to children, who pass it on to their children, and so on and so on. And I think that it's really interesting, for me at least, when I look at things and I look at things like the Second World War, maybe the First World War, and the trauma that these men and women had as a result of those wars, then got passed on to their children, who got passed on to their children. And so I think to me, it seems as though we're unraveling things and finding out things that happened back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. People really suffered, it seemed, in the 70s, 80s, potentially not as much in the 90s, and we're kind of starting to understand things a little bit better now. That's just my theory from listening to people like Gabor Mate and from the experiences that I've had.
Yeah, fascinating.
But yeah, I would recommend you listening to his work. I think his work is fascinating.